Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jed Lee, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are so delighted that you're taking time to join us today. We understand just how busy you are. Thank you so very, very much for taking the time to be here. We have a wonderful guest for you today. She is the author of a wonderful book called One Big Bully. Her name is Tracy Blom, and you are absolutely going to love her. You know, we just love the fact that the Reading with Your Kids podcast has been nominated for the iHeartRadio Best Kids and Family Podcast Award. We can't believe it. And the competition that we're up against, really, really great podcasts produced by amazing networks like NPR. And here we are. I mean, me and Fatima and my, support from my beautiful wife and, of course, all of the great authors who've been on the show. We're doing it ourselves. Oh, no, we're not doing it ourselves. We're also doing it with your help and your support. You're letting people know about the show, and that's how the folks at iHeartRadio notice us. So we appreciate that. And we'd really be grateful if you could do us another favor. If you could go to the iHeartRadio Podcast Award website, just Google iHeartRadio Podcast Awards, and you can vote for us. We are in the Best Kids and Family section. You can vote every single day, and you can vote up to 5 times in each category every single day. And if you are moved to vote for our show 5 times a day, that would be wonderful. That's a lot to ask for, but it'd be really cool if you could. We're really, really grateful. Thanks so much for being part of the show, and thanks for your continued support. Hey, for all the authors that are listening out there, I wanted to share with you this great email that we received here at the Reading with Your Kids podcast from Dr. Linda Mubarak. She is a past guest and the author of Maxine's New Job. Here's the email. Dear Fatima and Jed, good news! Maxine's New Job has been nominated to receive the prestigious Henri Award at the 2018 Christian Literacy Awards for Outstanding Literacy Work in the Children's Book Division. I sincerely believe your certifying Maxine as a great read helped bring increased social media attention to the book. Thank you for the exposure and the great marketing. We are so happy for Dr. Linda Mubarak that her book, Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read, Maxine's New Job, received this prestigious recognition. We would love to help your book receive that same kind of recognition. If you are interested in having your book considered for our Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program, please visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. You can click on the contact button, send us a note, and we'll send all the information back to you, or you can go right to our Certified Great Read page on our website. It's fun, it's easy, and it is really, really an effective way to let the world know that your book stands out above all the rest. The Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program. Joining us on the line right now from beautiful Tampa in Florida, where it is too hot to own your own forge, I just found out. Please welcome to the show the author of a beautiful new book called One Big Bully. Here is Tracey Bloom. Tracy, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Tracy and I were just talking about Florida and about the fact that her husband is an artisan and he has a forge where he creates these amazing metal pieces of art, and it's really hot to kind of do that down in Tampa, Florida.
That's right. Yep. We get about 2 days a year of cold weather, and he thrives.
And of course, when you're talking about cold, you're talking about 50.
Or 60.
60.
Right.
Yes,
right.
yes. It reminds me, I used to tour Puerto Rico every February for about 5 years, and I would laugh so hard because I would go down to Puerto Rico, escaping the snow-covered streets of Boston and minus whatever weather it was, and go down to Puerto Rico and find this beautiful 75 and 80 degree weather and everybody shivering with their big sweaters on. And I'd be walking around in a t-shirt and shorts, and it's like, what's wrong with you guys?
Yeah, that's how it is. That's still how it is. We're like, what is going on? Everyone's in, jackets and scarves and it's 60.
Yeah. Well, in a weird kind of way, and I love to make like kind of weird connections. What we're talking about in different perceptions, different perspectives, it kind of ties into the overall theme of your book, One Big Bully. And
Yes.
just, because a lot of times, some of the words that we use, some of the perceptions that we have can be hurtful to others because we're not looking at the world and through the same pair of eyes that the other folks are looking.
That's right. And so in my book, I use what is labeled as weird or different or, not the norm. That might be something that kids are made fun of, or in my case, it's, a bull with missing a horn or that's small or big. And I turn that into what their gift is. And so I think with kids nowadays, they need to be reminded that they're unique, but they're unique for their own purpose. So, we should promote oneness and not, segregation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting how especially here in the States. Now we talk to folks all over the world, but here in the States, we've always kind of celebrated the individual. And I know growing up, I was, taught to be, to be a leader or to go my own way and not to be a follower and not need to be like everybody else. But anybody who is different, and I experienced this because as an adult, I decided that I was going to leave human services and social work and become a clown and a magician. And whoa, talk about weird. My choice of going my own way was not celebrated at all.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so it's weird that we don't celebrate those differences here.
Right. And I think that, and part of the reason why I wrote this story, I wanted to address anti-bullying, but I also wanted kids to know that it's okay to be different and it's cool to be different. It's, it's what makes you you, and you contribute to the whole of the world by finding what your gifts are and finding out what makes you special and how you can help others using what might be perceived to others as different, so.
Yeah, that ability to celebrate being different, it's certainly something that I've sort of become very good at. But I think it's something that people, a lot of people are able to kind of wrap their arms around as they get older.
Right.
As they get older.
So recently, and I'm talking like the last week or so, I published another book that, speaking of different and growing up different, a woman out of New York, she's a clairvoyant medium. She asked me if I would help write a story about her childhood because she grew up seeing ghosts and spirits and angels. And she's like, there's kids out there like that. So I just published this book with her. It's called Christine the Clairvoyant. And so this one is, it's right along the same lines of helping kids to find out that they're not alone, that there's different things that make us tick, and that we're given gifts for certain reasons, and you're not alone, and there's a plan for everybody.
Yeah, and I think that's really important for us to understand. And we kind of joke about there's the expression, some folks who can't dance, they have two left feet. And it's, so it's, in some instances, we're reminded that we do need differences. We do need different body parts to be successful. We can't have a body with one, with 18 right hands. It just wouldn't be very helpful. So if we can kind of help our kids understand that everybody's unique talents add to our society and add to our communities.
Right. Absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful. Was there a certain incident that kind of led you to create One Big Bully?
So I saw, it was just a random occurrence. I went to a bookstore and I was talking to the owner about that I wanted to write a book about anti-bullying. I just kept seeing all these instances of children being bullied for, things at a young age, and even kids taking their own lives at, 15, 6. And I just thought, God, I want to create something that makes the world better, but addresses it at a really young age so that maybe they can get a different pattern of thinking, starting young. And she goes, if you're writing a story about bulls, maybe you should check out this bull who's the Guinness World Book Record bull in Texas. And so I featured this bull in my book. He was the inspiration for the bull in my story whose horns grow bigger every time he's mean. So this bull is called Cowboy Tough Checks. He's the, Guinness World Record holding bull. He's in Texas. And the owner of that bull actually helped me set up my first book signing for One Big Bully. So I got to meet a lot of the Longhorn community and the people in that community are, talk about some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. And they care. And I thought, well, what do they even do with these bulls? And they love them. They're like, if you envision like the show dog world, it's like that, but with bulls. Like they put all their love into caring for these longhorns. It was like something I'd never even thought about before, but he was the inspiration for the bull. And then of course, like all the stories in social media about kids being bullied too. So.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you, just talking about the bulls and that community, and I'm just remembering some of my first experiences performing at county fairs growing up in the beautiful city of Boston. We didn't have county fairs. Every once in a while, there was a little carnival that came through town. You were too afraid to get on the rides because they looked like they were going to fall apart. But I started, the first time I ever visited a county fair, I visited as a performer and was just amazed. It is a completely different culture. And I wasn't at any fairs that celebrated bulls, but there were certainly fairs that celebrated horses and cows, and they're huge animals. And bulls are even bigger.
Yeah. It was really neat. And so my sister lives in Texas, and so she came up and helped me with, the book signing and the book fair, and it was just a great time. So
that's fantastic.
It was awesome.
Now, I'm curious because, we mentioned early on in the show that your husband is an artisan and you are an artist, and I'm wondering but those are two very different kind of art forms and different ways of expressing yourselves and expressing your ideas. What's the kind of creative vibe that's going on in your home? Because I'm an artist and I have my own, and my wife is a teacher and much more kind of down to earth, and we kind of balance each other out. And sometimes I definitely need that. What's it like in your household with all this creative energy happening?
Yeah. Our house it's a very creative place. So, his shop is outside and he does a lot of his work. He gets up at the crack of dawn and he's out there with the forge going and stuff. And we just kind of, balance each other, I guess, as far as ideas. And I'm kind of the creative, person that goes off on weird tangents, and he'll be like, no. He's very pragmatic, scientific. He has an electrical engineering background, so everything is very, very structured, this is the way that this works. So we both create in different ways where, for me, all of my books come to me in dreams. And so I have, a stack of dream journals by the bed, and he'll be like, oh, that's so weird. But, he lets me, do my thing because it's what brings me joy. And that's how my creative process works. But for him, he'll get an idea from, he'll see something in a magazine that's a sculpture or something. And then he'll be like, I think I want to make a hammer based off of that sculpture. So like we both just have our own little things that make us tick, I guess.
And that is a beautiful lesson for our communities, it's here we are, you're home, you get this creative energy, but you're both very different, but you're both respectful of each other's energy and process and work. And what a beautiful thing if all of our schools and all of our communities, if kids could find the same kind of respect for each other and for each other's ideas.
Oh yeah. I mean, and for him too, and for a long time he was not doing what he loved, and he was working, a job he hated. And I just said, you know what? Why don't you try to do what you love, and I'll cover the bills for 6 months. Mm-hmm. And if you are good at it and you thrive at it, then keep going. And then if not, then go back to doing a different job. But he did that for 6 months, and his business just took off. And so it was, I guess it was nice that I was able to do that, but at the same time, it allowed him to find out who he was supposed to be and to do what he loves and pour his soul into this passion of his. And I think it's a good lesson for everybody to find what it is you're passionate about and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is, and it's a really important thing, I think, for parents to kind of help kids understand. Yes. And because even today, I get on this thing every once in a while about college, and every kid is pressured to go to a 4-year college and get a degree. A degree in what? For what? It doesn't matter. Just get a degree and get a big college loan. And meanwhile, we're not talking to kids about what they're passionate about and celebrating that. Yeah.
I mean, and for him, he was an electrical engineering student. He was in his 3rd year, and then he ran out of money. And so he didn't even get to finish. He had a 3.9 GPA and just didn't get to finish, and just had humongous amounts of student loan debt and no job. And I just thought, just try doing what you love. And if you fail, then just do it in your spare time then.
Well, and that's one thing we forget to teach our kids. If you fail, you're one step closer to finding what it is that you're good at and what you're meant to be.
Right. And there's been so many instances where, especially as a self-published author, I have so many rejections, so many things that go on where it's like, oh, why didn't this work out? But it's taken me some time to realize that some things don't work out, and it's a godsend, where it's like, oh, good thing that didn't happen, or else this opportunity wouldn't have worked out. So there's a whole new way of looking at things where, sometimes it's just being open to, following your passion in your heart.
You mentioned something, Tracy, and it got me thinking. I had this question. Do you think sometimes, we're talking about how kids bully others for being different, and do you think sometimes that we're our own biggest bully sometimes, that self-doubt is the biggest kind of bully that we experience in our life?
Oh my gosh, so much. I mean, if you could think about, and especially with social media today, and you look at, as a woman, all the different filters we can put over our faces, things like that, where it's like, why can't we just be okay with ourselves? And we've come to this point in society where there's so much social media where people can interact through, behind screens and not have their real selves out there. And, I'm going to pull my other book out here to show you. So I wrote this book called The Doctor's Disguise. And this whole book is geared towards teaching kids to look inward for happiness and joy and find peace and love in the simple things in life, and step away from fake screens and fake delights and things that make the world look perfect. So I think that there's so much going on in the world today, and technology is wonderful, but it's really changed the landscape of interconnectedness. Who has access to tell you, you're fat, or maybe you should not wear that, or change your hair color, or just strangers. So yeah, I mean, there's bullies all over the place, children and adults.
Mm-hmm.
And then ourselves taking in all this and we're like, oh my gosh, maybe everyone's right. Maybe I do need to lose weight. Maybe I do need to fix my teeth or, whatever. I think it's crazy because when I was growing up, there wasn't cell phones. There wasn't stuff like that. So it was like if you had a problem with someone, you'd say it to their face and that was that, and now you can get on social media and there's 50 people saying their own opinion about you.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's this balance. You mentioned the filters on pictures and,
right.
I think it's, I've one of my international daughters, Sarah, she loves when she's over for dinner, she'll take out her phone and she'll sit there and we'll take, these selfies and the filter would pop up and give me like rabbit ears and just goofy, funny things. And I love that.
Right.
But and then it's like you see these other pictures on social media and all of a sudden it's like, wow, that person, it looks like they're 20 and have blue eyes, but I know she's like my age and she has brown eyes and she's not close to 20.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, there's apps for everything. There's an app to delete the wrinkles from your face in all pictures if you pay, however much money per month. It's nuts that we can't just find self-acceptance. And I think that the more that, if you're a kid growing up and that's what you're growing up with, you're going to think that's normal. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It's something to self-acceptance, I think should also taught at a young age.
Yeah. And I was going to make a joke about, is there an app that, helped me get hair again? But, but it is this delicate balance. We do live in a time when we do, like some people would choose to spend $5,000 and bring back their hairline.
Right.
So I personally, I'd love to have hair, but I don't want to spend that much money on it. But it's, so we have this technology and sure, if it can make you feel better, great. But is there also a way for you to find happiness just accepting who you are?
Right.
And seeing the beauty of you inside?
And I think full circle now back to the bullying. Mm-hmm. I mean, if kids were happy inside and they had self-acceptance and they were taught these things at an early age about, accepting everybody else, accepting yourself and trying to create a holistic world, then I don't think there would be as much bullying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because a lot of kids, I think too, when I was at the Texas Book Festival, last month, mm-hmm. and I had a woman come up to me and she said, my kid is a bully. And I thought, wow, I've never met a parent who
admits that.
And she's like, yeah, I don't know what to do. I mean, she's just a bully. And I didn't know what to say because there's all these things where it's like, well, are they happy with themselves? Mm-hmm. Are they feeling self-conscious or maybe they had something happen to them and they're taking it out on the other kids. So it's kind of like this ripple effect where I think it all starts with teaching kids to accept themselves. And I'm sure there's other factors that go into home life and things like that. But yeah. I think
you're absolutely right. And one of the great things that I've been addressing the issue of bullying in my anti-bullying magic show for, it's more than 15 years now. And the perception of the issue has changed a lot. And one of the things that I'm happy about is that we're recognizing that the kids who are being bullies, they're suffering in some ways. We're not excusing their behavior, not excusing them hurting others, but we are kind of looking and say, okay, well, where is this coming from? And let's take a look at that too. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one big bully is a fabulous book, and Tracy was kind enough to send me a copy, and it was beautiful while it lasted in my hands for all of about 10 seconds because my wife said this would be great in my second grade classroom. So that is where it is right now, and those kids love it. So thank you for sending that, and the kids really love it. I was wondering,
Okay.
we should talk about the fact that you've written a number of great picture books, and we talked about a couple of them. But tell us maybe just a couple more that we can find out about.
So I have this other one called The Little Pharaoh Adventure Series, and so this is a book about it's more playful type of adventure story that is about a little girl Pharaoh, and she is in ancient Egypt, and she uncovers a necklace that is missing gemstones, and so she gets this magic kitty cat that she meets in the streets, and her cat takes her on a voyage through ancient Egypt to find gemstones, and the gemstones give her magic powers. This is book one of that series, and with this book, I just wanted to promote, finding an unlikely friend. So, she's royalty, and she just is kind of bored with riches and the lavish lifestyle. So she sneaks out of her palace, and she meets the street cat. The street cat, he knows everything. And so he takes her all through Egypt and finds things she would have never found on her own. So there's that story. And then I do have these two books. This one's called Jungle Dreams, and this one's called Sea Dreams, and these were illustrated by fourth and fifth grade kids.
Wow!
And so I worked with, so I don't know if you can see the pages there, but I worked with 2 different schools, and there was over 150 kids who participated, and so I worked with the art teacher. And I made sure every child had at least one animal in the book. And these books are at the Tampa Zoo. So in a couple weeks, I'll be at the Tampa Zoo doing a book signing on December 8th and December 15th.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And, those kids made some incredible art. Really, really pretty.
Yes, they did.
Well, I want folks to be able to go and check out your website, and it's a great website. Tell folks the address where they can find you.
It is www.theblom.com.com.
Theblom.com.com. Excellent. Well, you're a very prolific writer, so I know there must be a project in the works right now.
I'm always working on multiple projects. I'm working on book 2 of the Clairvoyant Christine books right now. And I'm also working on book 3 of my young adult series called The Guardians of Eden. And books 1 and 2 are out on Amazon now. So I've been working on book 3 for probably 8 months. So
fantastic. Well, you can find out all of that and keep up to date by going to theblom.com.com. And you have to spell out .com in the so just don't write theblom and then .com. We'll have it in the show notes.
The Blom.com was taken.
Of
course.
I
thought, well, I guess I'll just do the Blom.com.com.
Yes, absolutely. It's a great way to get that into folks' mind. We've been talking tonight about one big bully from Tracy Blom, and check out her website, theblom.com.com. Tracy, I'm real excited. Would love to have you come back and let us know about the new projects when they're ready.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me, too. This is great.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Margie Markarian. She will be here with some great information that you do not want to miss. Hey, I want to thank Tracy Blom for joining us today. I almost forgot to mention Tracy's husband has his own podcast. Check it out. Crafted podcast from ZH Fabrications. Check it out. Learn all about doing ironwork and things like that and trying to forge in Tampa. I want to thank Tracy, like I said. We also want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place and to help you grow closer to your kids by taking the time to read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.